Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a horror show called Midnight Mass. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The story opens with a montage of scenes from the unfortunate life of a young man named Riley Flynn. The first scene shows a sight of a destructive road accident as Riley watches the results of his drunk driving. He has caused a traffic accident that resulted in the death of a young woman named Tara Beth. Her lifeless body lies nearby, with shards of glass all over her face. As the paramedics approach the stunned Riley, he begins to pray. The scene then quickly shifts to a courthouse where Riley is sentenced to prison for 4 to 10 years. He is also ordered to pay the victim's family a sum of $104,000. Why the extra 4? Years of his hard work and savings vanish overnight due to his decision to drive drunk. He is consumed with guilt for ending the life of the young girl, and that his promising future is now ruined by his own hands. Ever since that day, Riley has never had a good night's sleep. Every night, as he lays with his eyes wide open on his bed, he sees the image of Tara Beth. Her face is always covered in shards of glass, exactly like the day of the accident. 4 years later, Riley is finally released on parole. His promising career in Chicago as an investment banker is now down the drain. I thought they were all criminals, though. He has nowhere to go but to his hometown of Crockett Island. Riley's mother, Annie, is overjoyed to hear of her son's release, knowing that their family of 4 can finally be reunited. His father, Ed, however, deeply disapproves of his older child's wrongdoings. One day before the release, his younger brother, Warren, informs their mother that he is going to hang out with his classmates. They have arranged to meet at the town's dock where a crew member who sells them cigarettes is waiting. Meanwhile, on the same island, a mysterious man with a giant trunk arrives on one of the 2 daily boats from the mainland. When the man gets to a house, he enters and drags the trunk in after him. He kneels next to it, bangs on the trunk twice, and whatever is inside bangs back. Later that evening, Warren and his 2 friends, Allie and Josh, ride a boat to a nearby deserted island. This strange place is filled with cats, and everywhere they turn, the boys can hear eerie cat cries. They arrive at their usual spot and begin smoking. However, in the midst of their lively conversation, Warren sees a ghostly figure flash by. He is so scared that he falls down with a thud. When he looks again, the figure has vanished, convincing him that whatever he saw was just a trick of the eye. The next morning, Riley finally returns to his hometown. Since his brother and father are out fishing, only his mother comes to the dock to greet him. The young man is clearly unhappy that his father hasn't come to pick him up, but Annie diverts the topic by smothering him with tender love and care. At the same time, a middle-aged woman named Bev also arrives at the dock. She is responsible for the island's singular church, St. Patrick's. Bev is there to pick up the elderly priest, Monsignor John Pruitt, but rather strangely, no one on the boat has seen the priest, which leaves Bev feeling very puzzled. Elsewhere on the island, the only doctor, Sarah, is performing an ultrasound for Erin, who is 5 months pregnant. Everything with her pregnancy as well, and the baby seems to be healthy. It turns out that Erin had left the island when she was young, but just a few months ago, her mother passed away, prompting her to return to the island alone and pregnant. She took over her mother's job and became a teacher in the local primary school. However, no one knows who the father of her child is, nor why she chose to stay on this desolate island. The father is either the devil or Vince Vaughn. There are no other answers. During the conversation with Sarah, she catches a glimpse of Riley and his mother returning from the dock. Her expression suggests that there is some unresolved romantic relationship between her and the young man. That night, Riley's family of 4 finally shares a reunion dinner after many years. His father, eager to help him move past the shadow of the car accident, orders him to attend mass at the local church from now on. He believes that God will cleanse the stains from Riley's soul. On the other hand, Bev returns to St. Patrick's Church after waiting at the dock the whole day. The priest's house is near the church, and she notices the lights are on. It seems Monsignor John must have returned to the island before her. Bev then approaches the home, but no one responds to her knocking, so she enters the house and sees scattered backpacks and a large mysterious box with its lock undone. Just as she is about to open the box to inspect it, a figure slowly approaches. From her reaction, it is clear this person is not the familiar Monsignor John. Crockett Island is a tiny isolated community of 127 people where residents cling to commercial fishing and their faith in God. They live unaware of global events as they are isolated from the rest of the world. child. In theory, the neighbors here should all live in harmony. However, the reality couldn't be any more different. An oil spill 3 years ago caused a big fire and shattered the peaceful atmosphere of the island. The following day, St. Paul's Catholic Church on Crockett Island receives a new priest, Father Paul Hill. He is the same man who arrived 2 days ago with a large trunk. Father Paul tells the people attending Mass that the 80-year-old Monsignor John has fallen ill on a pilgrimage and is currently in a hospital for recuperation. We then get to know that most residents here believe in God and even attend church services weekly. A key part of the Mass is the consumption of Holy Communion, all prepared in advance by the new priest. As everyone goes to receive communion, only Riley remains seated, feeling unworthy in his unclean state. But Father Paul tells him that God is not as interested in those who are absolutely pure. As Riley leaves the church later, he sees his first love, Erin, who had left without a word years ago. She is now standing across the street, waiting for him. He approaches her calmly, and she remarks that the prodigal son has returned. Riley replies with a smile, saying that she was the prodigal instead, and he was just a black sheep. So this is how the pious flirt. As the duo walks and talks, the middle-aged woman Bev looks at them with hostility. Nonetheless, the two ex-lovers keep talking, reminiscing about their past. Both Erin and Riley had sworn never to spend the rest of their lives on the island. They both ventured into the world, only to return to their hometown with emotional scars. Times have changed now, as Erin is now visibly pregnant, and Riley has weathered the years. They are both deeply moved by each other's experiences. As evening approaches, the wind howls and dark clouds gather, which is soon followed by a heavy downpour. Father Paul sits on the sofa, reading the Bible, when suddenly, lightning flashes.
Oh God, Jesus!
At the Flynn household, Riley stands by the window watching the scene outside. Suddenly, he sees a tall figure, wearing a trench coat and a hat in a flash of lightning. He quickly calls his family over, claiming he saw Father John walking alone on the beach. However, none of them spots anything, not even a ghostly shadow. His mother thinks he must be mistaken because Father John is still recuperating in a mainland hospital, but Riley is certain about what he saw, as he recognized Father John's long coat and hat. He tries to verify it himself and prepares to go out to the beach. After rushing out the door, Riley indeed sees a tall, lanky man in a trench coat. The man looks back when he hears Riley's call, but then starts running away. Because the visibility is poor, Riley can't see the man's face clearly, and thus can't confirm who he is. The following morning, the people of Crockett Island wake up to a very strange scene. The island's beach is littered with the bodies of wild cats, with hundreds of seagulls circling overhead. The town's sheriff, Hamza, discovers that all the cats' necks have been bitten through, and their bodies show signs of tearing. Strangely, no blood was found on either the cat bodies or the beach, which puzzles the sheriff greatly.
Cats don't have blood?
The mayor, however, doesn't seem to care much and suggests it may have been the work of small sharks or ospreys. Thus, they decide to burn the corpses in order to contain any disease they might be carrying. Shortly afterwards, Riley tells the mayor and some others about seeing Father John the previous night, but no one believes him, and Riley begins to doubt himself. It turns out Father John is still in a mainland hospital and couldn't possibly have left at night. That afternoon, only 3 people attend the church mass, besides Riley's mother and an old lady. A young girl named Lisa, who is paralyzed in both legs, is present. All 3 drink the holy wine and eat the holy bread. After the mass, the kind and friendly Father Paul chats and laughs with the girl Lisa all the way. It is evident that the young girl likes the new priest. However, when Lisa sees a bearded old man named Joe Cooley nearby, her expression instantly becomes blank. Joe also leaves hurriedly with his dog and looks embarrassed. It is clear that there is some past issue between the two. After parting ways, Father Paul pays a visit to Dr. Sarah's home. He had learned that Sarah's elderly mother suffered from Alzheimer's disease and was unable to attend Mass. So, he has taken the initiative to offer private service for the 80-year-old lady. He then proceeds to conduct the Mass personally, feeding her the holy bread and giving her the holy wine. That evening, when Annie is mending clothes, she accidentally pricks her finger. She screams in pain. Soft. But then suddenly realizes that her presbyopia, which has been troubling her for some time, has miraculously disappeared. A shocked Annie then wonders if such an eye condition could heal on its own. Before she can dwell on it further, Riley returns home. He had gone to the mainland for an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting and seems to be in low spirits. As he lays in bed, the image of the victim girl that he had accidentally killed haunts him again. That same night, an unidentified flying object appears to be searching for a place to land. It eventually settles on an abandoned house on the island. A few days later, on Easter, St. Patrick's Church organizes a communal meal. The entire island community comes together to eat, drink, and be merry. During the celebrations, the priest tells Riley that he plans to hold a weekly sobriety meeting at the church. This would mean that Riley wouldn't have to make the difficult trip to the mainland every week. While everyone is busy feasting, an unknown person feeds Joe's dog with a mysterious snack. This causes the pup to collapse in pain, with blood pouring from its mouth. When Joe notices this, he is utterly devastated. He holds back his tears and asks the crowd who would commit such a cruel act against a helpless dog, but everyone else simply looks on with indifference, indicating that Joe is not well liked among the community. He lives like a vagabond, appears messy, and has a drinking problem. But if everyone else in the building is okay with seeing a dog hurt, they are the psychos. Meanwhile, Erin's attention is drawn to Bev, who is standing nearby. Just the day before, she had seen her sneakily handling rat poison in the school storeroom. Joe also seems to know who is responsible for killing his dog. He glares at Bev with resentment, but refrains from taking further action, as he has no evidence against her. Even if he can prove it, he knows he won't be able to confront her. On Easter evening, Erin is sorting through photos when she suddenly hears thumping sounds from the roof. She looks out the window and sees a figure dressed like Monsignor John near a bush. On the other hand, at the doctor's house, Sarah's elderly mother begins shouting. The old lady claims that she saw her husband's figure, though he had died 15 years ago. Additionally, the weird incidents don't end there. A sailor on his way home sees the door of a nearby house open by itself. He stops and walks towards the house, asking if anyone is in there. He gets no response and is about to leave when suddenly a voice echoes what he just said. Driven by curiosity, the sailor enters the house, only to find a monster lurking in the dark. He is then attacked and pinned to the ground, and his screams are heard in the distance. The following day, a lot of people attend Mass. It seems like Father Paul's arrival on the island has ignited a fervent religious passion among its residents. After Mass, the priest challenges Lisa, a girl paralyzed for years, to stand from her wheelchair and take communion. Everyone thinks the priest is joking, and even Lisa's father questions him. But suddenly, she stands up from her wheelchair and gingerly walks towards the dais to receive communion from Father Paul's hand. This leaves everyone with their jaws on the floor. Out. Thank you for watching.